Okay. Hello, people. How are we doing today? I see we are live and well. Alana, how are we doing today?
Sir, she just stepped away, sir.
Okay.
She just stepped away. This is Margaret.
Okay, no problem. Abigail, how are we doing? Abigail? Not here?
Sir, she just stepped out. She's coming.
Really? Hold on. Everybody just step out?
Oh, she's here, sir. See her, see her.
Hey, sir, what was the question?
I was asked, how are you doing today?
I'm tired. I'm okay. I'm okay.
You're surviving. Okay.
Rest.
So what's happening with studio? Are you guys supposed to be close to your final crit? What's the schedule looking like?
Tuesday coming, we're gonna start our final project, the lecture for rituals.
Hi, bro.
Be quiet.
Okay, cool. Cool. All right. Well, Let's see where our schedule stands in relation to that, right? Let's see where we are. So, today is the 11th, right? So we are like 2 weeks away from the end of the semester. No, about 3 weeks. So we are right here. So today we should be looking on. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, hybrid image should have been last week. Why didn't we do it last week? What did we do last week again? Oh, we were working on the project, the assignment project. Okay, so this week is where you guys will get to see what your final project is, which is worth 50%, isn't it 40%? 25, 15. Okay, I guess so. So we're gonna get to see our final project today. So we're gonna maybe be pushed down a week after. So today we should be doing web creation, but we're gonna do that next week. So I guess we're playing a little bit of catch up here. So this week we're gonna do hybrid images. Right, so that's what we should have done last week. So we're going to do that this week. And we are going to need Photoshop for this exercise. So make sure you guys have Photoshop ready. We don't need it now, but we are going to need it in the actually we may need it depending on how far we get. What's happening? Mic check. Can you guys hear me? Oh. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Cool. They are working on the internet literally outside my house. So I seem to be going in and out of internet. So let's see if we can get through this. Okay. Let's go again. Okay, great. And does it show that I have a poor internet connection in Zoom, or is it? Can you guys hear me fine?
We can hear you for now, sir.
Okay, cool. Okay. All right. So can you guys see the screen okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we're gonna be doing a hybrid image collage. And that's gonna be, we're gonna spend, I think, this class looking on hybrid images. This will form a part of our final project. We will look on the final project later today, right? You guys should be complete with let's see, schedule here. Right, so your assignment was due last week. I haven't started marking it yet. So that would have been due on the 20. No, hold on. Assignment 1. Oh, actually, no, the deadline for assignment 1 is today. So you guys have until tonight to finish your assignment 1, right? We have been dealing with assignment 1 for the last 2 or 3 weeks. This is where you model that house, and we looked on how we can I gave you guys some tips, and last week we looked on how we can use Photoshop to form the background, right? So you guys were to use what we learned last week, and hopefully you can finish up your assignment for this week. So we're gonna just jump right from that into our final project, actually, right? And that will take us to the end of the semester, right? I do believe classes right. So I do believe classes end on the about the 25th of the month. So we pretty much have 3 more weeks. So we are pretty much at the end of this module, guys. You're almost through the door. We just have one more assignment left. And this assignment isn't difficult. We're going to do a little bit of modeling as we did before. But this time, we're going to learn a little bit about websites. And we're going to learn a little bit about hybrid images, right? So, with that said, okay. So, architectural collage hybrid images. So what exactly is this? So it's the fusion of diverse drawing layered over each other, right? And it's driven by a concept. Anybody recognize this building? Anybody? Gavin?
Sir, the CSA building.
Exactly. It's the CSA building. You snatched the answer from Gavin, right? But not really, right? There is something interesting happening with the building. If I was to ask Thea to describe what she's looking at, what would Thea say? Are you there, Thea?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What would what are you looking at here?
So the building is mainly just the stairs, and then after that is the little design that you add.
It's the what? What design?
The orange design.
Right. Okay. All right. Cool. That's how you would describe it. Cool. Who else is here? Jenna Lee, are you here?
Yes, sir.
So, generally, what are you looking at? How would you describe it if if you saw this picture and you were describing it to somebody else, you know, like, what is this?
So it's like a mix of a real image versus like a digital image.
Okay, cool. I should have led with this question. Do you like it? Is it interesting to you or is it weird?
It's interesting, sir.
Okay, cool.
Kind of like represents each of the little spaces as they go further back in the building.
Okay, cool. All right, fair enough. So this is an example of a hybrid image collage. The reason it's hybrid is because it's a mixture of different media types. So for example, there's a photo, there's some graphics, you know, there's some parts in black and white and some parts in color. It's a mixing together of different elements. And this is called a hybrid image. It's more specifically, I want to say hybrid image collage because the word collage suggests that it is multiple images coming together. But at the same time, it's not necessarily realistic. Like, obviously, there are parts of this image that is a bit conceptual, you know? It's a little bit of the imagination, right? So this image was actually done by Nicholas Gordon, right? Who graduated like 2 years ago. And how this came about, this is actually the 2021 UTech calendar. And this was something that it was a project that I led where I got some CSA students to come together and create these hybrid images of some areas on the campus, right? So this was one of them. So today we're going to learn a little bit about hybrid images. And it's a little bit, it's an interesting topic because it isn't math. It isn't zeros and ones. It isn't something that I tell you to click this button and it will create a hybrid image. As you can see, there's a little bit of imagination that's mixed into it as well. And that will be different for everybody, right? So let's take a look on these videos. Oh, wait a minute. Did I set up my audio? Let me see.
Back to the channel.
No, not yet. Okay, give me a sec, guys. Let me fix my audio real quick. Where is it? Here it is. PowerPoint, here we go. There we go. All right, let's see.
Today, I want to talk about why you should use the collage style. Also, back to the channel. Today, I want to talk.
You guys are hearing the audio, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's take a look on this whole hybrid image collage.
Talk about why you should use the collage style, also called as post-digital style, during architecture school. Cool. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to point out the benefits of.
I'm gonna try to switch over to off my data so it doesn't totally kill my data connection. And all right, can you guys still hear me and see me? Uh-oh.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. All right, good. Right. Because I don't want to use up all my data. Okay. Hopefully the internet will keep stable. So let's continue.
Of going for this type of illustration, I'm also going to show what you should look for while creating and composing these drawings, and talk a little bit about the potential of different human figures in architecture images. Alright, we all know how time demanding architecture school is. It doesn't matter in which part of the world you are in, during the semester there are tons of projects going on at the same time. You still have theory exams in the middle of a project due week, maybe also competition going on. It's a complete mess. Time is short, and with each project you've got to design the architecture building or landscape urbanism project. You also have to create good looking plans, sections, elevations, diagrams, concepts, details, and of course 3D images. And here's where things get even more complicated. You start school and usually you know nothing about architecture, but you start to see those ultra realistic, amazing renders that portray a unique atmosphere, and you seek that as something you want to achieve with your own designs.
Isn't this true, guys? As a matter of fact, for some of us, it's the reason why we're in architecture, because we see these beautiful renderings. And we're like, yeah, I want to create that. All right. Okay.
But let me be honest here with you, it takes time to achieve such results, time to learn how to set up all the settings on the render engine, and even more time to let it render through the night where you're supposed to be using your PC for something else. Now let me share what I saw during architecture school years. If you're going to present your project for your architecture professors, they would rather see you thinking outside the box and really showcasing your ability to express yourself than showing off a realistic-like render. So that's where these collage post-digital illustrations come in. First of all, they are much easier to do. In just a couple of minutes you can produce an outstanding image with whichever software you're most comfortable with. More on that later on the video. Also, there are no rules here. You've got so much room to create. You can really use the composition at your will. You do not have to follow realism guides. Skies don't have to be blue, shadows can be modified or non-existent, textures and colors can be emphasized. Of course, at the end of the day, you want to portray your architecture design, so it has to have proportions and a correct sense of perspective. But other than that, you can pretty much do anything. For example, you can use a color palette throughout the whole board composition and then apply it on your collage. You can make it all black and white and emphasize a specific element with your color scheme so you draw attention to that area. There are many ways to better present your design, and I guarantee you that the professors will really value those intentions. Hey, listen, I know usually during a university project you won't be able to solve all four corners of your building. I've been there. So use the project's images at your favor. Frame the image and compose in such a way that it looks like you've got everything under control, but in reality you solved more of this area than the other one. And of course there's no problem about that, but with the realistic renders it's not easy to pretend this. During architecture school, you need to learn the whole picture, understand the process, and learn to think like an architect. So don't let small details that will need a bit more time to solve stop you from creating amazing projects. I like to think that collaging lets you use excuses to create great results, direct viewers' eyes to what's essential, and really show off your ability to express thoughts and ideas as an architect. The last reason why you should use collage and post-digital techniques is singularity. You can develop your own style that you can be remembered for. There are some famous architecture offices like Fal Atelier and some others that are known for their style. I'm going to link all of them on the video description if you'd like some references. Alright, now let's talk about the key points you should look for to achieve a great result in this style. The first one is treat each image as a unique paint, because every element of your illustration is important. It's not all about the architecture building itself, but more on the environment where the design is placed, and how the project interacts with the surroundings. The second item is the sky, which balances out the composition. So make sure to leave room to your project breathe. Try not to cramp everything in a small image. Now, if we're talking about interior collage, of course there's no sky in it, but you can leave some ceiling in. And this point leads me to the third item, which is canvas proportions. Your image doesn't have to be the classic 16:9 ratio. You should use this step to enhance your composition. Usually, I feel that taller aspect ratios work best in collages, but see what fits best in your final board. Next, we can talk about white space. Unlike a normal render, you don't really have to fill up the entire canvas. You can use the white space to balance out the composition. White space isn't always white, it means negative space. So for example, if your background is black, then your white space is black. Got it? It plays such an important role in the final result, and you can have many approaches on this, like rough cuts, gradient fades, mosaic compositions, you name it. Then color scheme or color palette. So having a guide about which color to use helps a lot along the way. Usually I go on websites that people can share their colors and pick what I'd like to work with, or that has a meaning on the project. For example, if you're working with cotton steel and would like to have that tone as your primary color, you could search for a color scheme that complements it. Now, if you'd like to know more about colors and how to work with them, let me know in the comments below. I would love to talk about color basics and color compositions in architecture drawings. Alright, lastly, take special care of the cutouts you insert on your image. The human figures are fundamental to show the scale and depth of the architecture. They help us understand how the space would be used and who is the user profile. Now, pay attention to this. Whenever we see a new image that's interesting, usually the first thing you do is look at the people and what they're doing, how they're using the space. Have you noticed? They help to set the illustration mood. So if they're so important, why do we insert them as almost the very last element in our workflow? This is a mistake I often commit as well. Especially in these type of illustrations, we have to exercise placing them at the beginning so that they can be more than just simple scale references. We have been talking about not having rules for this style. Now, on the world of cutouts, that's pretty much the same. I feel that here you can explore even more. For example, bring dated figures such as people in blockbuster old movies, Renaissance people, 3D rendered cutouts to contrast with a pale composition, silhouettes, hand-drawn figures, you got the idea. But as I have previously pointed out, make sure to get the perspective right so things don't look odd on the scene. But other than that, go crazy. Alright, so you got the reasons why using collages are so special for architecture students. I've shown the benefits of this style and how to achieve better results. The intention of this video is to broaden your view regarding architecture visualization. The classic realistic render is a bit overrated, but I'm not trying to say that one is better than the other, far from that, but the word of architecture illustration.
Oh, great. Come on. Are you guys hearing me?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're seeing the screen still? Guys? Anybody? Hello? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
And you can see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Because I'm getting messages from Zoom, but okay. I just want to make sure I'm not offline. All right, cool. Let's continue.
Renderings is full of possibilities. and we should look out for all of them. Usually architects, urban designers, landscape designers, interior designers have their primary role to design, to create. And visualizing, no matter what type of style you choose, is a part of this role. Not something that should take all of your time and effort. So you gotta choose a process that fits in your workflow, in your day-to-day work. So regardless of everything I said, we must master the software we use. Photoshop, Illustrator, SketchUp, you name it. If we have full control over the tools and skills that help us on the creative field, such as drawing, painting, photography, art, and so on, it is much easier to achieve what we want. So we always need to keep learning, keep studying. We gotta innovate ourselves in this highly competitive area that is architecture. Back to the channel.
Okay, guys. So, what exactly is a hybrid image collage? Right? And it doesn't exactly have an answer that is specific. For example, you're looking at one now, and at the beginning of the slide, I showed you another one, which is this one. But what it is not a fully computer generated 3D image. It's usually not one media type. And as you heard from the video, it's usually much quicker to produce than if you decided to try to achieve a photorealistic image, right? So this is the activity that we're gonna do today. We're gonna try to create a hybrid image collage, and I'm gonna try to create one as well. This is not something that is scripted. Every year I totally just make up what the collage is going to look like, because the thing about the collage is that it's partially imaginative, right? As you heard from the video, it doesn't have to be grounded in reality. So for example, the image that you're looking at now, yes, you can recognize that it's a CSA building, but it is saying something else. And because you're not tied to reality, you're able to say that other thing using simple shapes and forms.
Back to the
right? So,
okay.
Now, a hybrid image collage can also be used to summarize an existing space. So on the left is a photo, and on the right is the collage version of the photo, right? Leonardo, are you here? What do you think of these two? Could you recognize that these two are of the same space?
Yeah, based on the background.
Yes, I was about to ask you, what is the most powerful element that sells you on the fact that it's the same space?
Background and the opening on the top left.
Exactly. And this is one of the main features of the space. Now, if you look in the photo, I mean, there are a lot of other things going on for the photo. But the main idea is that you can look over into this double height space, and that is what is being captured in in this collage. The additional thing that's being captured is the materials. But as you can see, this is a very simplified version of this image. So that is another powerful thing that the collage does. It simplifies an image, right? So this image on the left, what we would typically do when a building is under construction is maybe we would create a 3D model and then we would do a rendering of what the building looks like when it's done. But doing it as a collage, it's almost like you kind of skip out. Like, obviously this is not photorealistic, but you can do this so much quicker and highlighting the main idea of the spaces without necessarily doing a render. Right? You saw this one already. This is by Nicholas Garden. This was by the calendar team that I led to create the 2021 calendar. This is another one here. And the thing about a collage is that it has different meanings. So let me ask Lawrence, Mikisha, are you here?
Yes, sir.
What do you think this image is saying? Apart from the fact that it's the front of UTech. But obviously there is some other madness happening here. What do you think it's saying?
Sir, honestly, I don't.
All right. Anybody else want to give it a try? What do you think this image is saying? Go ahead, Ansel.
I think it's giving the idea that there's a lot happening on the inside of UTech.
Right. That is good. A lot of stuff. From, I don't know, buildings, electronic, skyrise, something to do with bio. You know, the leaf is here. There are these shapes. So there's a whole lot of stuff happening beyond. And this is another type of a hybrid image. Obviously, it's not just a photo of the front of UTech, but it's like it's saying, hey, there's a lot of stuff happening behind the gates. So this is the other thing about a hybrid image. Yes, it can summarize a space, but also it can speak to, you can, it's like an art piece that you can use to say additional things in an abstract way. Right, here is another one as well. Right, this was another one that was done. This is by the calendar team. Proctor, what do you think this one is saying, in your opinion? Well, firstly, can you identify which building it is?
No.
What was that?
I don't know what it's saying.
It's where?
I do not know.
Oh, I can't really hear you, microphone. But anyway, what do you think it's saying? Who else wants to give it a try?
So can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So it just seems like it's trying to highlight how you get into the place.
Okay, cool. The library.
Yeah, it just I don't really see much happening there, but it looks like there's something going on, and then I like make sure you know where the entrance is, because I definitely know where I'm going to go through to get inside the library based on this picture.
That's true. That was one of the objectives of this exercise. It is supposed to, it's like it's giving you a tour. It's like photos of the campus, but at the same time, they are hybrid images. So they are saying a little bit more than just, this is the library. And that little bit more, it's not like, they can be interpreted in different ways. So, you know, and this is also a type of hybrid image because it's a montage. There are lines, you have these birds that are coming out of the library, You know, you have these shapes. You know, so you're able to say more than just a picture. These are some other ones. This was another one here. I guess you guys recognize this building. Now, also in architecture, so for example, this was a urban study that was done by the masters. And this is also a hybrid image because I guess you guys can see the photo that's in the background. And then you have these lines. And what this was saying is that this was meant to represent that this street feels like a big culvert, because you have these buildings on either side that was very tall, and then you had this wide open road and it was just empty. So in a way, this was a kind of expression of what DaCosta Drive felt like. Right? And here you can see that, so this was a section of the street. This is what the street looked like. This is also another one as well. This is kind of expressive, right? And this one was saying that basically when you cross this threshold here, you went into the chaos of the town. So it was saying that beyond this threshold, you know, there are a lot of things happening, cars and people, and it isn't a literal image. You know, it's kind of mixed in with a bit of art. So at the same time, while I'm showing you all of this, I just want to show you the versatility of hybrid images, right? It can be something as simple as this, which is just trying to highlight the different windows and that you can view in this section. So it spans anywhere from between something that is almost fully artistic to something that summarizes a space in terms of its main features, you know? Or it could be just something with a photo that is overlaid. All of these are hybrid images. Now, what we're going to be focused on for this particular exercise is we want to do what's called a hybrid image collage. So for example, what we want to do is we want to take a model, and instead of carrying that model into a rendering program, we want to create that hybrid image collage of that model. So let's take a look on this video.
So before talking about other important architects that use collage and different types of techniques for their projects, we need to talk about something different than architecture. We need to talk about art, because art is where much of the inspiration for the collages come from, right?
Can you guys hear it? Is the video too low, or can you hear it? You might have to. Well, I have it mine at max. Can you guys hear it?
It's a bit low.
Okay. I think you might have to turn up your side, because I don't see where I can turn up my side any louder. Yeah, everything on my side is booked. So you have to turn up your side, definitely. All right, let's continue.
Artists like David Hockney, artists like Hopper, artists maybe inclusively like Picasso or many more. Were very key components for architectural representation and for people who wanted to represent their architecture in a different way. So if we look at David Hockney's paintings, he he set up his architecture, his Californian type of architecture, in a very perfect, very minimalist kind of way, with human figures that just fit in the whole image. And he had a specific color palette that was very from California, right? So it was a lot of pinks, a lot of blues from different pools, and a lot of greens. So that was his color palette. And I think when we analyze David Hockney's different kinds of paintings, drawings, photo collages, we can take some information from that, about, okay, so he used this specific color palette. How can I create my own color palette for my context? If I live in, I don't know, Colombia, I live in Colombia, I have maybe a set of greens, a set of, very warm colors. Another artist is maybe David Hopper, or maybe we can find inspiration in some movies, some text, and we can all see how we can apply that information to our architecture drawing. So the invitation here is not to only stay in our world of architecture and architecture super architects, but that we go outside of this world and we look at different artists. Maybe we can look at musicians. Maybe we can look at different films. Maybe we can look at, I don't know, different kinds of cinema. And from that, we can gather some inspiration on visual representation, maybe some specific techniques, and we can gather those and represent them in our collages. We can get inspiration from Hockney, from Hopper, but we can also get inspiration from Raphael. We can also get inspiration from Picasso. We can also get inspiration from Francis Bacon. So it really depends on what kind of things you want to portray in your drawings, and artists and art will help you get to that. So before talking about other important architects that use collage in different... Okay, and finally, it's time to talk about the new wave, right? Why are we going back to digital collages? Why are we going back to collages? Why is it interesting again, right? So obviously after this postmodern era of OMA, of Zaha, people, and after the advancement of digital technologies, we were able and capable of rendering better, rendering faster. We have some very hyper realistic images that are baked in kind of a matter of seconds, and they can you can't distinguish them from a photography or from reality. So some people, some architects, they said like, whoa, that's not the essence of architectural representation. We are not here to be the same as a photograph. A photograph is different, right? The reality is different. Our way of looking architecture or presenting a project is through our way of representation, and that's a specific representation. So maybe some artists, like some Mexican artists, some Mexican architects like Palma, some artists like Fala Atelier, which are one of the most popular right now. They started to use collage as their basic and only way of representing their projects, right? So they started to gather inspiration from David Hockney's paintings, and they started to use very minimal textures, very a unique set of color palettes, and they also have a way of creating architecture. So that is well represented in their drawings. So the idea is to also understand why are we going back to digital collages, and if it's in a good way, then how can we right now make digital collages that are not copies of other ones, but are just creations of our inspiration in the things that we feel inside, and the things that we need to communicate in the best way possible to our clients, to our teachers, and to basically...
Right.
Okay, and finally...
So what we're going to do now, guys, is we are going to look at... Hold on. Look here. We are going to create a hybrid image using our model that we use for our assignment. Well, I was actually hoping that most of us would be done with the assignment. I guess you don't have to use the model from your assignment because it's not about the model. I wanted to just have an idea of how we create a digital collage, right? So this is a class activity that I want you guys to do because you're going to do this for your final project. But the idea is that a digital collage is really simple. It is supposed to be something that is easier than doing a full-on rendering. And it is a combination of different tools. So we're going to start from SketchUp, right? And as I said, you guys don't have to necessarily follow me because you don't have to use your assignment project, right? You can actually use any object that you want. As a matter of fact, for those of you who did this exercise, you can just grab one of these objects and use it if you want. All right? And what you're going to do is we're going to create a hybrid image, and you're going to submit that to me, right? A hybrid image collage. And we're going to do this using Photoshop and SketchUp. So I want you to really look into this method for presenting your architecture, right? Because it's an option that you guys have. All right, so what we're going to do is first I need to locate by the way, you guys have any questions? Sidial, are you here? Yes, no? Sidal? Jomo, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Any questions based on what we just looked on?
Nothing so far, sir.
Nothing so far. All right, cool. No problem. No problem. Okay, so let's take a look on this model here, right? So this is my version of the assignment model. And we're going to look at some of the advantages of doing a hybrid image collage. We're not going to do too much of the imaginative ones, so we're not going to go too abstract. We're going to kind of be a little bit more grounded. So let's say you have an idea. Let's say this is your model. Maybe it's a design that you worked on. You know, you guys have your ritual project that you're working on. You did tectonics, right? And I think do you guys still do climate? Do you still do climate?
Yes, sir.
Right. So let's say you have this piece of architecture here, right? I'm going to delete this person. And I'm going to make up an environment, right? So maybe you guys have already had an environment. Let me see. For this project, we were actually doing it as a kind of a dock. So I'm going to pretend like this is my dock here. I'm going to pull this like that. Maybe something like that. Maybe in the background here, there is some kind of roadway, maybe. Let me group this. So I'm going to group that. Remember, in SketchUp, always group all your elements together. I'm going to turn off the shadows because it's kind of getting in the way. I'm kind of making this up as I go, guys. So this is like I'm going off script here, right? Just kind of making stuff up. And I don't know, let's say that this is some kind of roadway here. Let me group this. And maybe I have some kind of fence that's in the background here. Well, maybe I have a sidewalk. I'm gonna, oops, push, pull that, like that. Maybe that's a sidewalk. And then I think I'm gonna duplicate this and rotate it. And rotate it like this. At 90 degrees. And I'm gonna just drop this here. Yeah, so maybe it's some kind of, I don't know, some kind of fence, and then this is my deck here. Let me make it a little bit interesting. Let me put like some stilts here. There we go. All right. Put one over here. And I'll put some down here. There you go. And maybe I'm gonna stick this under here, maybe like that. Because this, I'm gonna extrude this a little bit. Right, and I don't know, maybe this here is like water or something. So I don't know, maybe this is some kind of retaining wall. So let me make this unique. So we can actually move this like so, I think. And can move, can we move this up? No, up. Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing, guys, but I'm doing something. Yeah, so maybe this is my scene here, right? Maybe I'll cut it off here. Maybe this needs to be a little longer, or maybe this needs to be a little shorter. I'm not sure. But I want this to reach the end of my scene. So let me select all of these guys here, except this one. And I'm going to just stretch this down and stretch this down here. Yeah, that's better. So the environment that I'm trying to have is that saying, okay, this is a little jetty that goes out here. And this is like water. This is like water. And then I have like a roadway here. And then I have like some kind of a fence here. And then I don't know what's behind the fence. Maybe some other buildings or something. Let me save this. Just in case we crash, I don't want to lose the work. So I'm going to save this under Hybrid Images. And I'm going to create a folder, call it Hybrid Image Demonstration. And I will pin this to quick access. There I go. All right. So this is the point that I'm getting to, that usually for hybrid images, especially in architecture, you might start from a 3D program. Maybe this is just an idea you came up with. Now you need to start applying materials and making it, be more expressive. Now, this is where I want to encourage you guys to kind of break away from using the program, because if you use SketchUp and, for example, you start to add materials and all of that, you're kind of tied into this reality, this logical reality of how you express your architecture. And that might be good, but at the same time, it's not going to give you the ability to go off the rails if you want to go off the rails. So for example, in some of these examples that I showed you, you don't really have the ability to do these weird things when you're in this very logical environment, right? So the typical way we do a hybrid image collage is that, yes, we start from a 3D program, but then we move into a program where we have a little bit more freedom, right? So what we're going to do is, let's save this view because we don't want to lose this view. So I'm going to go to scenes to create a new scene, right? I'm going to go to styles, and I want to just have just black and white because that's what I want to take with me. I'm going to also turn off the model axis, so I'm only left with just the axis alone. All right. And I think I will roll with that. Right. Good. So I'm going to update this scene now. So that way, in case I move it, I can get it back. All right. So now what I want to do, I want to export this 3D model. No, not 3D model, actually. I want to export this. Come on. Come on. There we go. Yeah. I want to export this as a 2D graphic. And we can use a PDF if we really want to. Or we can use let's use a PDF. And I'm going to say, I'm going to leave everything default. All right, so now we're going to head into Photoshop. And this is where some of the magic will begin. So I'm going to open a new page and I'm going to change it to photo. And I will just use, I'll just use letter size and I'll go landscape. All right. Now I only need a couple of these. I'm going to do swatches. I don't think I need gradients. I'm going to use swatches. So if you remember from our Photoshop demo, we can kind of just combine the things that we want to use. I don't want to use patterns. I probably will use properties. I'm definitely going to use adjustments.
Sir, what you exported as a PDF?
Yes, as a PDF.
Sir, I'm not getting that option for some reason.
Yeah, it might be a version of SketchUp. You can also export as a PNG, but make sure you go into options and choose transparency.
All right, bro.
And I don't think I need my channels, right? So I do this because I don't want to, I want to only have here the options that I want to use in Photoshop. I don't want to be bombarded by all of these other windows and stuff. So I normally just close them out so I can get more space like that, right? Okay, so let me save this, because when I save it, it will auto-save. So I'm going to save this in Hybrid Images, Hybrid Image Demonstration, and all right, now I'm going to carry the image into my scene. So I'm going to go to where let's see, Hybrid Images, Hybrid Image Demonstration, and here we go. So I'm going to drag this PDF in. There we go. And there we go. So we have this PDF, and it actually comes in as a smart object. So I'm going to right. So I am going to I'm going to rasterize layer. All right. Now keep in mind that this, because it's a PDF, let me turn off the background. Notice that I have transparency, which is good, which is exactly what I need. When I say transparency, meaning that if I should draw a box, well, let's give it a color. So if I should draw a green box like this, I can put it behind, and you can see that I have transparency with the layer. So I can move this box around, and I'm actually seeing the box below the lines. So that is one of the things that you need. You need transparency. Now, the trick with hybrid images is that the collage part of it is that you use images from all over. Now, I have a collection of images, but you don't have to have my collections. For example, I'm just going to go to Pinterest, and I'm just going to type wood texture. Hopefully I'll get lucky. Wood texture. Now you could do this in Google, but I think that you just get some better results with Pinterest. Some of the results might not be as as high detail, but that's fine. I think Pinterest gives you a better, Google is a little bit wild, so it will give you some crazy results, right? So in this case, when you're doing a hybrid image, you need to have an objective that you want to something that you want to express. So in this case, I want to have this is like a wooden deck. So I'm gonna be like wood texture back. Maybe I'll just use this one. And usually I can just let me see if this will work. Just drag this here. No, I will have to copy it. So let me open this, copy it and paste, and voila, I can get this here. Now, there's a couple ways that you can do this. One of the more, let me say, the proper ways to do this is that, let me turn this off. You want to set up these guided layers. So for example, I will have a layer here and I will call this deck. And we did something like this in exercise 2, but it's a little different. And I'm going to use my polygonal lasso tool here. And I'm just going to trace out where I want the deck to be, just roughly. Like, it doesn't have to be super accurate. And then I will fill this with a color. Can be anything. In this case, it's green. Select. And then what I'll do, I'll put the wood here. So this is the wood here. And then I don't know the long way to do this. I only know the shortcut way because I've never really done it the long way. So if you hold Alt and move the mouse till it's turned into this icon here, the wood deck will automatically be clipped in this space here. Let me see if I can find the long way, just in case you forget that shortcut. I think you have to create like new. I think you have to go to layer. Layer mask. I really don't remember the official way to do this, because it's been so long that I've done it the official way. I've always just used the shortcut. But there is, I know it's somewhere in here where you create like a layer mask. But for the sake of moving forward, oh, here it is. That is it, right? So the official way is to go to layer and create layer mask or release layer mask. But of course, my shortcut way is that I hold Alt and just wait till the cursor changes to this icon here. And I change it like that. Now, the good thing about this now is that you combine that with, again, I'm going to show you another shortcut. If you hold Alt, you can really turn this into like a perspective kind of a thing here, like that. There you go. There you go. So you can kind of turn it into a perspective, and you don't have to worry about like getting it to match exactly, because you have that layer mask that is working for you, and it's just cutting off the layer wherever you want. And that means I can just duplicate this again, and voila, and everything is cut in that space, right? Now, let's say that I want to get some other materials here, right? So for example, I want down here to be like a wood texture. I would do the same thing again. So I'm going to encourage you to keep organized. So I'm going to call this deck. And I'm going to group all of this into a folder called deck, right? Always try to keep organized, because we're going to end up with a lot of layers here doing this, all right? So I'm going to create another folder and call it deck side. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to create a new layer. And I'm going to use the the marquee tool here to just cut here. And I'll do the same thing again. I'll just fill it with green. It could be black, it could be anything, doesn't matter. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back to Pinterest. There we go. Let's pin this here. And let me just type wood. I don't know, side. I don't know. Let me see what I'll find. Yeah, this is pretty good. Don't forget to put texture. There's a word for it, but I'm not sure it's that. Maybe I could grab this. Maybe I'll call it cut. Cut with texture. I don't know. You know what? Doesn't matter. I'm just going to grab one like this one, and I'm going to copy, and I'm going to paste. Now I'm going to just, while I'm here, I'm just going to paste it here, and I'm going to do the same thing again like that, and oops, like that. And I guess you kind of get the idea here. I could make this wider if I wanted to, maybe, and I'll just copy the choose OK, and I'll just copy this a couple times. right? Let's say I want this here to be concrete. So I'm going to create a new folder and call this stilts. And I'm going to do the same thing again. So this process is pretty much, you're going to follow it all the way through. Right? And guess what? When I cut this here, I can hold shift and I can add this here. So I don't have to do these as separate entities. And guess what? It doesn't have to be neat. As a matter of fact, I will carefully suggest that you kind of make it not so neat because it gives it a kind of natural look. So what I'm doing, I don't know if you guys remember doing something like this for your exercise 2. Anybody remembers? Nobody? Remember when we had to color that section? Daniel? Any recollection?
Yes, sir. The sketch section.
Ah, exactly. But we didn't use exactly this feature, but you know. All right, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to fill all of this with green.
Wait, sir, hold shift and then it just, when you move the lasso tool, it just draw the thing for you?
Yes, the key thing is that when you draw one, hold shift, you will see the plus button. You see that little plus that pops up? That means you can draw another one.
So.
Right.
So you don't have to like manually click and drop the lines and when you hold shift.
Yeah, but it will just create a new one. So for example, if I create a lasso tool like this, if I click again, it's going to make that first one go away. So in order to create another one, I have to hold shift and then I can create another one.
Yeah, I get it.
As a bonus point, if you hold Alt, I can cut out that area. Pretty cool, huh? So I can actually cut out a negative space as well. So anyway, all right, so I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to jump back to Pinterest. And trust me, the exciting part is coming, guys. This is kind of the normal part. This is your base that you're creating. So I'm going to say concrete. And you have some nice concrete textures here. I don't know which one to get. I'm going to just, maybe this one. Copy this. And I'm going to stick it here. And I'm going to do the same thing. And voila. Oops. I have a oops. By the way, if you notice, for example, I'm trying to move this. And I have to grab it inside here. I'm trying to grab it here and it goes away. What you can do is you can turn off auto select layer. So that way it doesn't deselect whenever you click something else, right? So I'm gonna just turn this, I don't know, like this. Maybe stretch it a little longer so that it looks a little bit. And I'll just copy this. Right? This masking tool is really helping me out here. All right, now if you turn on this option that say auto select layer, the only way to select another layer is you have to click it manually over here, or you have to hold Alt to choose. So it can be a little annoying. All right, guys. So you see, we're kind of getting this thing done, and let's add the stone. So we want here to be like a stonework. I want here to be water. But we want it to be, this is where the imaginative part comes in now. We're not trying to mimic reality. So let's see if Pinterest can give me watercolor water. Right? Get it? Watercolor water. Let's see. Texture. This is looking interesting. This looks kind of good. This one, yeah, I like this. All right. So before I grab this, first I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to call this water. Oops. Water. And I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to create a new layer and I'm going to grab my cutout tool. And now I know you can use the magic wand, but the magic wand doesn't give you the straight edge that is ideal for this kind of thing. So I'm going to encourage you to use the cutout tool. Remember, it doesn't have to be neat, right? So for example, I'm going to show you something here in a little bit. Let me just grab this one. There we go. I'm going to fill this again. Remember, this doesn't have to be green, guys. It can be any color. And actually, this isn't water. This is wall. Let me turn that off. I meant to create a new folder and call that water. Then create a new layer. And I meant to select the water here. Now, for here, I'm going to try to use let me try and cheat a little and use the magic wand tool, which is here. Oh, to use the magic wand, I have to be on this layer. It's not giving me what I want. The magic wand tool. That's why I don't really use it, because it's not giving me what I want to select. Let me try a quick selection tool. No. You know what? This is why I say just use your good old polygonal lasso tool, and that usually gets the job done. All right. So now things are about to get a little bit magical. But I don't know, guys. Like later on, when you start to learn rendering and Twinmotion and Lumion and all these things, I know this might look like it takes time, but to get those other types of renders, it takes much more time and experience. And the main issue with that other type of rendering is that you're kind of locked into reality. So notice we're going to get a little bit more imaginative here. I'm going to just go here and here and here and here, here. All right, I'm going to fill this. And, oh, wait a minute. Oops, wrong layer. Wrong layer. Make sure you fill the right layer, guys. All right. And then I'm going to go back to Pinterest. I'm going to grab this really interesting water, stick it here. I'm going to do that thing. And I'm going to turn this way. And I'm going to do that thing where I hold control to turn it into like a perspective. Just like now remember, I could have used any texture for this. I just chose this one here. Maybe there's a more interesting watercolor texture. Ooh, like this one. Oh man, this one looks nice. Let me try this one. And the lovely thing about this is that you can just pop any one of these in and just use this same tool to just clip. How should I turn it? Maybe like this. Yeah, what do you guys think? I think this one looks more interesting. What do you think, Elandra?
Pardon me, sir?
What do you think? This one looks a little bit more interesting.
Yes, sir, it does.
Right. And if you want to get crazy with Photoshop, you could even mix them together, like blend them to get some kind of even more crazy effect. I don't know. Multiply. But I'm not going to get all crazy with that because we only have a half an hour, and I want you guys to be able to build one. All right, so I'm gonna put a fence here. So the idea is that the textures that you look for, it doesn't have to be realistic. So I'm gonna say stone wall texture. You know, like this is really realistic, but you can go to I like to use watercolor, or I could use sketch. So I could end up using a sketch here. You know, I like to use watercolor because I just like the effect. You know, maybe this. I don't know. Let me try this. Yeah, I can grab this. No, I don't like that one. I don't know. I'm kind of this looks interesting. Or you can try oh, this one looks, but this is still real. I want something that is not so real. Stone wall watercolor. What do you call that paper that has that texture on it? That textured paper effect. I don't remember what you call it. Texture paper. I'm just gonna call it that.
The canvas, sir.
Canvas, right? Watercolor, canvas, texture. The freedom that you have here is that you can pretty much just grab any image. And this is what I want to highlight with you. You can pretty much just grab any image, and that kind of frees you. Because if you were in a 3D program, oh, look at this. This is like interesting. And then the thing, what I like about Pinterest is that you grab that and it will show you these similar ones, right? Like then you get to this, and this is getting a little bit more cartoony, but I don't know if you want it to be more cartoony, then like, look at this. Ooh, this one is interesting. Granted, this is vector stock, but doesn't matter because we have cutouts. So remember, we already had this here. So I'm just going to stick this here and put this on the wall. Then I'll do that. And I can just do this kind of thing like that. Maybe this looks a little stretched, so I'll carry it in a little bit. There you go. And I'll just kind of copy this. Let's stretch it a little bigger, maybe smaller. Maybe it would be a little smaller because it's further in the distance. There you go. Let's copy that down there. Yeah. So essentially what we're doing now, we can start to get a little bit imaginative. Like, for example, what's happening behind this wall, right? So we can say watercolor village landscape. I don't know. In elevation. Or this could even be something that you sketched yourself. This looks nice here. This looks nice here. And you can see why I choose to use oh, look at this. Let me see what else I can find with this one, because Pinterest just cuts out a lot of the fluff that you get with for example, if you're using Google, because it would just be too wide. So I think this looks pretty good. I'll copy that. And I'm just going to create a new one. I'll call this BG for background. And I'll do the same thing where I will and this isn't even neat, guys. You can see that I'm just rough cutting a lot of this stuff. Fill it with a color. And let's copy this, stick this here, put this in the background. I don't know if this will work, but you know, maybe I need 2 of these images, or maybe I need to flip it and kind of cut it. I don't know. But don't worry. We have some other tricks up our sleeves, right? Even if this looks kind of weird and cut like this, we have some other tricks up our sleeves. So another thing that we can use when we're using this method is that we can use our own cutouts. And this cutouts is a big part of architecture. Like, you guys should start to create your own cutout catalog. I've done this over the years. So I end up having quite a custom catalog of cutouts, so 2D cutouts over the years. Some of them I bought, some of them I downloaded. Of course, you can get cutouts from Pinterest and these places, but they're not going to be nicely cut out for you. So for example, I have some foliage here as watercolor. So I'm going to grab like this one. And with these cutouts now, I can, I don't know if I want to use watercolor. Maybe the watercolor is being a bit too much. I don't know. I can stick it right there and I can put it behind this guy. Would that work? No, it needs to be in front. Yes, but I would need to also add it to this. There you go. You see what I'm doing, guys? And now in the foreground, I'm going to add maybe like some people. And remember, in that same presentation that we did, people in elevation, silhouettes. No, but I think this is going to be illustrate. Okay, lovely. Oh, these are all watercolor as well. I have a lot of watercolor stuff, so I don't know if maybe this guy can be riding down the road here. Oh, we didn't do this fence, guys. We need to do this fence. So what kind of fence do we want here? Wooden fence, like, any ideas? Generally, what kind of fence? What was it?
Japanese wooden fence.
All right. You always have to put texture. Well, hold on. Maybe this one. Well, this is more bamboo. This is a picture from... actually, this one isn't bad, but I don't want anything with that I have to cut out. Look at this one. This is interesting. Maybe it's a bit dark though, but let's try that. So I'm going to do the same thing again. Oops. Let's grab this. Oops. Don't forget your layers, guys. Always. So you notice I'm putting everything in groups and layers. So I'm going to call this fence. Put it behind. And I'm going to create a new layer. And how am I doing on time? Okay, we got 15 minutes. Not too bad. We do have some other parts that we want to add to this. I'm going to add this other side here. No, I haven't even added any texture on the building yet, but you know, I just want to focus on the more tricky parts. All right, let's fill this with a color. And let's go for our fence texture. Let's drop it in, crop it down, and let's make it a little smaller. And yeah, we're just gonna duplicate this a couple times. Maybe we want to change the scale a little bit for this side. And to make it not be the same, we can actually, I'm kind of moving it up and down every time. I think the main thing with this, with the texture, this has like a white edge. Hmm. Yeah, let's get rid of that white edge. There you go. Now we can go ahead and duplicate this a couple times, and hopefully it won't be so bad. There we go. So I'm kind of moving it up and down so that it doesn't look so repeated. Then on this side, I'm making it a little smaller, like that. Make it a little bit stretched, like that. There you go. All right. And of course we can, you know, we can add people and all these things. We can have some people in the foreground. Now, the thing about this is that we can get even more imaginative. So for example, the background that we add here, like suppose we wanted to, you remember like how we had that that picture with UTech and how we got a little bit more abstract for the background. So maybe we could end up with back in Pinterest, watercolor sunset sky. And wow, like look at this. This is just beautiful. But it's not widescreen. We could maybe yeah, a lot of this isn't exactly widescreen, but what I want to show you, okay, maybe this one, because I'm also looking at the ratio of the screen as well. And you know, just the ease at which you can swap stuff in and out using the collage method. So you know, you just need to make it a part of the background, and from you put it in front, it's perfectly fine. It will just fall in place. You know what I mean? Stretch this a little bit. You can just swap stuff around easily. I'll put this tree back in front. And like your imagination of whatever you want to do. So let's say, for example, you wanted to purposefully let this be like black and white like this. Usually what I do is I turn off the the hybrid image, so that you don't end up with the lines, you just end up with the texture. In this case, I want to still have the building. I wonder if we can finish the building in the time we have. Let's just do a concrete texture for the building. All right. So, I'm just going to I'm going to go for a new concrete. So usually what you want to do when you do cutouts, you want to put the sides in the same. So for example, everything that goes along this axis, you would have it as one cutout. Oops, I didn't create a layer. I'll create a layer. All right. So let me call this building, I don't know, 1. And I'll create a new thing there. And then I'll create a cutout. And if you look closely, you notice that all the cutouts are very rough. Like they're not very accurate. I keep highlighting that because that is a whole part of this style. Well, if you want to have that style. So everything here is, I need to add the windows. Oh, hold on. No, I need to minus the windows, not add. I need to minus the windows. So I'm holding Alt now to minus the windows. There you go. To minus this window here. Come on. There you go. And I'm going to fill that. And this time what I'm going to do double. So I'm going to create a new layer. And I call this building 2. Create a new thing. And this time I'm going to do this face. Actually, I did leave out something I was supposed to do inside. So let me go back to building 1. And let me add inside here. Did it add? Yeah, let me fill that. Yep, good. Then let me deselect. I'm going to go to building 2 now. And I'm going to add this side. Whoops. Then I'm going to subtract. I'm going to hold Alt to subtract the inside because I don't want to fill all of this with color. And I'm just going to choose a different color here, like red or something. And I'm going to fill this side with a different color. So you see, I could have actually just gone through and done this first. I'm going to create a new, and I call this frame. Yeah. This is so rough. It's going to look a little bit messy, but that's okay. And I'm going to subtract here. And new color. And lastly, I'm going to add glass. And I'll do the glass. Oops. Got a whole shift. Yeah. And I'm gonna give that a color again. As I said, guys, doesn't matter the color. Right. These colors are only here so that you can now easily texture them. So now I'm going to go over to here and I'm going to type concrete. And I'm going to choose a different concrete, preferably something without lines. I don't know if I had chosen this one before. I think this is the one I chose before. Yeah, how about we choose a darker one like this? I'm going to go to building. Now here's the thing. For one, I'm going to paste it here. And I'm going to do that thing again. Actually, this is darker, so I'm going to paste this in too. Yeah. And then I'm going to grab another concrete. And I'll paste this here. So you see what I'm doing, guys? Like it gives it a different texture. It's a little bit bigger. Or maybe I can just copy it. I'll just copy it. Yeah. If you really want, you remember that you can use that tool to get the perspective. So for example, I could lean this like this if I really wanted to give it that angle for the roof. I could do that and then just copy this one like that. So you see it kind of lean like the roof if you want to go in that level of detail. Oops, not that one. Let's do the glass. Watercolor reflection. What about this? No, that's not good. Oh, you got to type texture. Yeah, this is actually a photo, but I actually like that one. I actually like this. I'm gonna grab it and I'm going to stick it where glass is. I'm going to just add it there. Yeah, that's looking nice. And for the frame, what color do we make the frames? Any suggestions? Some kind of wood, metal? I don't know. Black, metal. Oh, texture. What about this? That looks interesting. Frame. There we go. All right, guys. And after you finish doing this, so if I turn off the hybrid image layer, you're left, you don't have these line works again. You just have this. And what you can do with this now, you can start to add your own kind of creativity to this. So let's say that I wanted to highlight the building because I don't know, that's like an important part of my thing. This is where your imagination is layered on top of this feature now. So maybe I want to create like this highlight here. What do I call it? What do I call it? I don't know. I don't know yet. I'm just making this up as I go along. maybe a kind of yellow. And then I add like a filter to it. All right, that's pretty much last time. And maybe I want this yellow here to like shoot out of the screen like this, because I'm trying to, oops, hold on. Right. Maybe I want this yellow to kind of shoot out on the deck, because maybe I'm highlighting access, egress, I don't know, something. And maybe I even want to layer text on top of this as well. Myriad Pro. Myriad Pro. Where are you, Myriad Pro? Here you are. Bold. I just want bold. Yeah. I don't know, guys. Like, I don't know what else I would want to add to this. Maybe I'll be going a little bit crazy. But do you guys get the idea that a hybrid image collage is like a combination of you just putting images together in Photoshop, and you can let it have the look that you want. It doesn't have to obey reality, because you're not in a 3D space. You're kind of in just this flat space. You can layer text. You can just make up anything that you want to, depending on what you want to highlight. And if you look at some examples, like even if you go to Pinterest and you type hybrid image collage, I'm going to say architecture, because of course you're going to see some that's very imaginative, like for example this one. But can you see, guys, that it's like a collage, like, oh, this looks very nice. Like imagine if we wanted to so this whole layer that is the background layer, we could actually, oh, check this out. I don't know why I didn't do this before, but we could actually do a mask. Move this like this, maybe like this, somewhere like that. And we could fill this with black. Let's do the invert. We could fill the outside with black. Okay, I need to invert this. Hold on. Select invert, and then do that. Right, guys? Then we could, oops, let's get this text. Then we could, I don't know. We could do so much stuff. I don't want to add any more. We're like beyond class time. You know what I mean? But do you get the idea, guys? Are you feeling it? Is anybody
Yes,
here?
yes, sir.
Oh, hold on. My bad. You see what happens when you don't talk? My headphones just assumes that nothing is happening and disables itself. Right. All right. So again, so you get the idea, guys, with what you can do with a hybrid image montage, right? There is so much that you can do with this. Look at some of these examples. Where do I have them? Here. A lot of them, oh, this one is so cool. Check this out. This is so cool. And it has people floating in the sky like this. This is so cool. So you have a lot, you can add so much meaning to them. Like, look at this one, and you have the person that's going, so it's really highlighting the path. And all of these usually start from a model, could be SketchUp, could be any program, and you take that model into Photoshop and you use mask to just cut out and layer and cut out and layer, and you can get some really interesting, beautiful images, right? Like what we have created here. So what I want you guys to do is to create your own collage, and I want you to submit it. You can use any object that you want. All right. And when we meet later, we will, I don't know if we'll have time for the class to do it that in class, but we'll see if we can dedicate some of the class time for you guys to create this. It can be really simple. It doesn't have to be elaborate like what I have here. All right, Jomo.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now I know you guys have another class, so sorry to keep you 7 minutes over. Goodbye, and I will see you later for the working session.
About this picture.
Is that a question you have for me?
I'm saying I have an issue with SketchUp, sir.
Oh, meaning what's the issue?
I'm not